Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter out here in the desert today. Going to do a little bit of testing on this UltraDyne Apollo Max muzzle brake. This is probably one of the most aggressive 308 muzzle brakes that I have ever seen. I'm really interested to try it out. I posted several pictures over on Instagram, and I gotta be honest, I'm a little bit nervous about this one because, as you can see, it has 4 separate chambers, and each one of these chambers has these angles cut into it, and they are really directed backwards, unlike a lot of other muzzle brakes out there that just have the chambers where the gases are vented left and right. This one really pushes those gases back towards the shooter. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm really interested to see how well it works. It's got 2 more cuts in it in the front, 2 more ports in the front that are located at the, I would say, the 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock position. So those are going to give us a little bit more of that muzzle rise reduction, and then we're going to get the recoil reduction out of these little fins that are on the side right here again. So again, this is a 4-chamber or 4-port muzzle device, and we're going to go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to double up the hearing protection on this one. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, let's take some shots and see how she works. Okay, so I've had a chance to put about 150 rounds through this brake so far. I've been here all morning. It's still probably about 22 degrees. It is really cold. I thought it would warm up by now, but it hasn't. Nonetheless, I put about 150 rounds through this muzzle device so far, and I don't say this lightly, but I think this might be my new favorite brake in 7.62. I mean, I've got some favorites. The Lantac Dragon in 7.62, the Fortis Red in 7.62. Those are a couple of my favorites. This one right here definitely beats both of those in terms of muzzle rise and recoil mitigation. I mean, it feels really smooth. I put it on this rifle on purpose because for some reason this rifle has the most recoil out of my 308s, and it definitely tamps that down. I feel like it's very flat shooting. I can stay on target. Even when I'm popping rounds off one after the other, you know that 308 has a bit of recoil behind it, but even though I'm popping off rounds, it still feels like I can stay on target no problem. I mean, I feel like a majority of the recoil is actually coming from the bolt carrier group itself. An AR-10 bolt carrier group actually has a lot of mass, so you can feel it come back in the buffer tube and then slam home. And I really felt like that was probably a majority of what I was feeling. It really does reduce that recoil quite a bit. So I'm happy with the performance of this thing overall. Now, one of the things I was worried about was because of the aggressive cuts, the way that the gases are redirected backwards instead of straight out to the left and right, I was worried that you were going to feel a lot of those gases come back towards the shooter, and I didn't experience that at all. I mean, leaning against the truck, leaning back against the truck, just, you know, out in the open shooting, I mean, whatever I was doing, I didn't have any issues with the gas coming back, no issues with the gases at all. I couldn't feel absolutely anything. Now, as far as the noise goes, I did double up my hearing protection, which is something I typically do with this rifle right here when I'm running a compensator, and I didn't notice that it was any louder than any other brake. I mean, brakes in general, when they redirect the gases left and right, they're going to be louder. It's just the way it is. Instead of having all those gases going forward, you're getting a redirection of those gases, and it just makes it really loud. That's, you know, that's just the nature of a compensator or a muzzle brake in general. So I didn't feel like it was any louder. It may have been a little bit louder, but I didn't hear it myself. So the fact that I'm not getting blasted by any gases, the fact that it doesn't seem to be, at least perceived by me, to be any louder than any other muzzle brake, but I enjoy that recoil mitigation and the muzzle rise being tamped down. I gotta say, I am really impressed. Now, time will tell if it's gonna continue to be this way, but I mean, a muzzle brake is a muzzle brake, you know? From the 150th round to the 1000th round, it shouldn't change at all. So it's pretty cool. Now again, this is the Apollo Max from UltraDyne. This does have some kind of unique features. You're not really seeing it right here. This actually has a crush washerless feature. So you can install this with a nut instead of using a crush washer, but my crush washer kind of got crimped on here, got a little bit stuck. So I decided instead of taking that off and going through the hassle, I just went ahead and timed this with a crush washer. But it does come with a nut where you can time it without tightening it down onto a crush washer. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, they have some options on their website for the Apollo Max where you can actually install a flip-up sight onto the brake itself. And it's kind of a competition thing because it means that if your handguard ever gets slightly off axis from your rear sight, the compensator, which you're going to time to the rear sight, will have the front sight on it, so it'll always stay in tune with the rear sight, even if you get a shift in your handguard. So I thought that was pretty cool, but not something that I have. Nonetheless, I gotta tell you, it's a very impressive muzzle brake for sure. It's really long. It's very aggressive. I'm gonna say this thing's probably 3¼ inches long. So you got that going for it, and you're not gonna make any friends at the range if you're sitting right next to somebody. But if you want to reduce that muzzle rise and recoil on your AR-10 or your 308 bolt action, whatever the case is, definitely worth checking out. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.